60 to 80% of our chronic illnesses are diseases of lifestyle, okay? That doesn't mean that there aren't genetic components. Definitely there are, but I see in my practice a lot of people like, well, I have the genetic marker, they tested me for that, so I have a genetic marker for Alzheimer's or dementia, or I have the genetic marker for the BRCA, gene for breast cancer or estrogen-related cancers. Hi, welcome to the Judy Terrell Show, where I explore topics intended to optimize every body 50, 60, 70, and above. For thousands of years, the things that killed human beings prematurely were things like bacteria, plagues, smallpox. Fast forward to now, contemporary days, ironically, the things that are killing us prematurely and causing great health issues and distress while we're living are diseases from our daily habits. Heart disease, cancer, diabetes, stroke, obesity and the complications of obesity. They are all directly related to our daily habit patterns. Our daily habit patterns are the things that are killing us prematurely in the 2000s. According to the World Health Organization, 60 to 80% of our chronic illnesses can be prevented and reversed by changes to lifestyle. Welcome everybody, I'm Judy Terrell, and I'm 63 years old. I am in a PhD program right now to become a doctor of lifestyle medicine. For my entire life, I have been leading people, programming people, designing workout routines, eating plans, sleep hygiene, changing the way they react to stress in their own minds. These are pillars of lifestyle medicine. And I have been programming people in this and amassed a large number of varied credentials to be able to analyze somebody's behaviors and then put together an astute plan that will help them to reverse preventable diseases and, even more importantly, increase the quality of their lives. I am 63 years old myself. I am currently still competing in Ironman level triathlons. I do not take hormones. I do not take peptides. I do not supplement except for a few selected ones. I am a walking case study for why lifestyle and your daily habit patterns are your most potent medicine for aging ideally and optimally and staving off chronic illness in today's culture. So, because we are dying prematurely from diseases of lifestyle, there is a undergrowing movement of something that's called lifestyle medicine. The American College of Lifestyle Medicine is now certifying doctors who have the mindset that is not just medications that are going to treat a symptom, that is going to give them their best tools for helping their patients. I am in a PhD program from the Lifestyle Prescription University to become a doctor of lifestyle medicine, because there's an under-rumbling that's going on. Because as you all know, anybody who's watching this video knows that the medical system in America and globally is kind of crumbling under our feet. And why is that happening? Because we are suffering from diseases of lifestyle, but when we go to our clinicians and our primary care doctors and specialists, they are analyzing and looking at symptoms and then treating them either by surgeries or medications to abate the symptom. But what is not happening, at least not enough yet, is a changing perspective of, yes, we need to treat the symptoms. If you're having a heart attack, you need to get care. You need to have a surgery. You need to be able to have CPR administered to you. If you're having autoimmune flare-ups and you have skin disorder like a lupus, you need to have maybe some steroids to help to calm that down in the moment that it's flaring up. But all these techniques that we're getting from our primary care physicians and specialists are not designed to get at, well, what is causing, these symptoms and these diseases that are getting diagnosed? What is the root cause of them? And even if you're going to functional medicine people, they are still looking at analyzing, they're looking at what is off in your body chemically or systemically or functionally, and then they are treating that, trying to find the imbalance, but they are again giving a supplement or a peptide or a nutraceutical, and then still thereby treating the symptom and maybe getting a little closer to the root cause. But what they are not addressing is, what is that person doing while they're taking those medications or those alternative treatments? If you're taking those, but you're still doing lifestyle habit patterns that have factored into creating the disease state, how far are you going to get with that? And this is my main point to this video, is that I'm not necessarily a non-advocate for medications, supplements, hormones, peptides, all the things that are getting a lot of attention right now, but I am against using them if you are not also simultaneously looking at your lifestyle habit patterns and then trying to identify where they are factoring in to the creation and manifestation of these diseases. And I have my clipboard here, and I'm going to show you this on the screen. So what is lifestyle medicine? What would I do with a client or a patient that came in who is getting treated for, a chronic illness, or has markers and they're getting treated for high cholesterol or high blood pressure or high visceral fat or high inflammation as measured by a C-reactive protein in their blood? They're coming to me because they want to lose body fat, which they know is a factor into these disease states. They're coming to me because they want to know what to do in their daily habit patterns that can help them with the medications. I have a large number of clients where that is the scenario. I also have clients who are being proactive, and this is my favorite kind. They're not diagnosed with anything yet, but they know that their lifestyle, they're not feeling that great, they're fatigued, their joy and their happiness is like a little bit, because they're stressed a lot. They know they're turning to foods, even though they know not to eat highly processed, hyper palatable foods because of their day-to-day timing and schedule. They are turning to them, or trying to make the better choices by turning to what I call the greenwashed ultra-processed protein powders and energy bars, but they are still not whole foods, and they are definitely factoring in to how we can maybe make some headway into their lifestyle habit patterns to help them to turn the ship around before they even get diagnosed with a chronic illness.
When you have tried all the programs and done all the right things, and yet you still can't lose the weight that you're trying to lose, and you're a male or female over 50, now is the time for you to look into my program, Your Second 50.life. It includes online video support. You can download video and PDFs for an eating plan and exercise plan appropriate for over 50. It includes group support on a monthly basis, and perhaps even more importantly, it includes weekly individualized coaching specific to you. Having the generalized plan is a good thing. I have helped literally thousands of people to lose weight over the 43 years I've been in practice, and I'd like to help you too.
So we have the preventative. I'm on the cusp of falling into like a chronic disease. I can feel it and I want to do something about it. Or I've been diagnosed and I now know how important it is that I have to do some lifestyle changes. All right. And I want to go back to the quotes I did earlier. 60 to 80% of our chronic illnesses are diseases of lifestyle. Okay. That doesn't mean that there aren't genetic components. Definitely there are, but I see in my practice a lot of people like, well, I have the genetic marker, they tested me for that, so I have a genetic marker for Alzheimer's or dementia, or I have the genetic marker for the BRCA, gene for breast cancer or estrogen-related cancers, or joint disease runs in my family, severe arthritis. And the underscore of these conversations I have with clients is that there's really nothing I can do because it's genetic, okay? And that is another point I want to make in this video. Yes, there's genetic components to all our chronic illnesses. the larger percentage of the manifestation of them by far is our lifestyle. But if you are somebody who does have a genetic predisposition for heart disease, then it isn't like, the kiss of death for you. It doesn't mean that there's nothing you can do and that therefore, just devil care in your lifestyle. It actually means the opposite. It means that if you have the genetic markers or the genetic predisposition, then it's even more important for you that you are doing lifestyle practices that keep those genetic markers from actually manifesting. Because epigenetics is the science and the perspective now, because we know that you can have the genetics, but what you are doing with your lifestyle can either have those genetics manifest and express themselves or stay dormant in your genes, in your cells, okay? That's really, really powerful because that means that what you do has an effect. How does that make you feel? I think that makes that, when I tell that to clients, there's when you can re-empower somebody, that's an important piece to reversal of these chronic illnesses and changing lifestyle. Okay, so I hope I've sold you on the fact that we really need to take a look at lifestyle as a primary medicine for all that ails us right now. But, what I have again witnessed in my practice is most people think that their lifestyle is not that bad. Like, there are clearly people who know that they need to make changes. They need to change their eating. They need to change their, exercise. They're very sedentary. Their sleep is a mess and they're under huge amounts of stress. But by far, the majority of the clients who come to me, they come to me because they want to lose fat and they want to, help to avoid and minimize and reverse these chronic illnesses. But upon questioning them, they will tell me, yeah, my diet's really not that bad. Or, I have a sedentary job, but I get up and I walk around a lot. So what I'm witnessing and is seeing is that there's definitely a barrier. Many of us, because we have AI now, we have Google Scholar, we have Google, we have information at our fingertips for what to do. And we think that we are doing all the right things because we live in this age of information overload. But what I do is an analysis of the pillars of lifestyle as medicine. And then I do a amalgam. I give a score for each one and then show a picture to the person of where they may be failing or need to put more attention, even though they're doing really well in one of the pillars, they're not doing well in all of them averaged together, okay? So what are the pillars of lifestyle medicine? What are the day-to-day life habit patterns, the realms of which we need to really look at and analyze and then make some changes? Obviously, the first one is the big one, and everyone knows it. It's what we are consuming. It's what we're putting in our mouths and taking in through our skin, okay? The consumption of substances. There is no one right way to eat. Some people do very well following a Mediterranean type, evenly macro-balanced diet. Some people do better when they have a slightly higher protein. Some people want to be a vegan, or vegans, and they don't want to eat any animal products. The science is very equivocal on what is the right mix of the macronutrients and the right diet protocol. But there are certain things that definitely the research has brought to the surface, and the 2 points I'm going to highlight and what I do with my clients is that whole foods. You need to be eating whole foods over the large and growing number of ultra processed, highly palatable foods. That's number one. So if you're going to eat whole foods and you like to eat animals, or you feel like animals are a part of a healthy diet, then you need to eat the animals, the flesh from the animals, not the processed meats. If you are somebody who wants to be a vegan, then you need to eat beans, and you need to eat quinoa, and you need to eat whole vegetables and fruits. You do not want to be eating the organic pea protein powder drinks, okay? Processed whole foods. Everybody agrees whole foods. So that's one of my first, analysis is, are you eating whole foods? And then the second one for this is, are you diversifying those whole foods? A lot of the clients I work with think they're doing really great things, but they're doing what I call mono eating. And they're eating the same foods that are whole food and healthy, but over and over and over again, and they're not getting the diversity that our microbiome needs and that this whole system needs to operate optimally and to stave off chronic illness. Lifestyle is medicine, okay? So that's the eating and consumption piece, all right? We also put things on our skin. We want to make sure that the ingredients in these products that we're using are also, minimally, they don't have chemicals and things that are actually going into our skin and then into our inner realm and then basically poisoning us. So there's the eating piece. That's pillar number one. Pillar number two is movement. And now movement doesn't have to be formal exercise, although it does have a component of that. But a lot of times I just need people to just look at their daily movement, what's called NEAT, non-exercise activity thermogenetics. That is, how many steps are you getting in a day? How much movement? Are you up and down from your desk, and when you do that, maybe you need to do some squatting, get up and down, stand up and down 10 or 15 times, walking up and down stairs instead of avoiding them. The movement of our everyday life, picking things up in our day to get the strength training. That's where I first look at what's somebody's NEAT, their everyday activity level. And then, yes, we need to add formal exercise for our bones, for keeping muscle, which is the organ of longevity on our body so we age well. But, so the exercise and movement piece, that's the second pillar of lifestyle as medicine. The third pillar, your sleep, okay? Sleep hygiene. Our sleep hygiene is a mess. We are going against the circadian rhythm of, when is the best time for us to get the best stages of sleep. We're going to bed too late. We're waking up early, can't get back to sleep. Our brains are spinning, so we go to bed and then we can't fall asleep. A whole host of reasons why sleep is thrown off. But looking at that and then trying to get some specific habit patterns to improve on that, because that you could be eating the most pristine diet, but if your sleep is off, then your body's time to rejuvenate, repair, and rebuild and optimize is being compromised. And this is where the confusion starts to get in, and why people, when they're just looking at one realm of lifestyle as medicine, will think that they're doing everything right, but then why are they manifesting heart disease? Well, maybe it's the mix of these pillars of lifestyle. All right, so I'm on number 3 there. And then the fourth one, I use 4 when I'm doing my one-on-one work with people, is stress reaction. So not stress that goes on out in the universe, it's how we react to it. What are the things we say to ourselves? What thoughts do we have about the stress and ourselves and the world and life in general, and that how much stress happens to us versus somebody else? We have a whole automated thinking reaction pattern to stress. And so it's not about minimizing the stress in lifestyle as medicine. It's about uncovering the automatic reflex reactions to how we are thinking about it, and then trying to do some reprogramming on that so that we are not stressing ourselves out because of the stress, because what we're saying to ourselves, and then turning to food or alcohol, or then losing our motivation to exercise because of how we are processing stress. All right? So those are the 4 biggest pillars in lifestyle as medicine. Those are the big ones that I analyze for people, and then I have the individual client make a rating on a scale of 1 to 10. How good would you rate yourself on the eating? How would you rate yourself on the exercise? And then we start to get some objectification for where we need to look and where we need to put most of our attention, because lifestyle medicine is holistic. It's not reductionistic, and we're not honing in on just the heart. We're honing in on the fact there's heart disease, but there's how does the system of how you're living your life, your lifestyle habit patterns factor into that? And it's not, a reductionistic equation. It's a holistic equation. But we got to have some method for that. And I just went over with you my method for when I'm working with clients one-on-one. And then we start to get a path to follow, and we break them into doable steps, as opposed to thinking, you got to, overhaul your whole life, or that just because parts of your life you're doing very well with, like we are really good with your exercise, but you really might not be so great about your stress reactions. All right? So, lifestyle medicine. when you are ready to stop outsourcing your fat loss and your health to hormones, hacks, supplements, peptides, medications, and you want to reclaim your power by learning consistent, repeatable habit patterns that have more power than any of the other substances for reversing chronic illness and to help you lose weight, then follow me.
And if you'd like to have access to some of my additional resources, I can be found at Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and on my website, www.judyterrell.com.